I told you, this thing is bigger than Nino Brown, and I got a list of proof.
Order.
If I'm going down, I'm taking a whole lot of people with me.
Order in the court.
Am I my brother's keeper? Yes, I am. Am I my brother's keeper? Yes, I am. Am I my brother's keeper? Yes, I am.
To this day.
Nino Brown Boxing, I'm back in the building, man. It's been a minute since I put up a video. I really think I'm gonna start being a little bit more consistent, but I don't know, every time I get a little motivated, boxing let me down. But here we go, man. My post-fight reaction to Devin Haney versus Ryan Garcia. And yeah, man, it was definitely a heartbreaker for me. I was rooting for Devin, and like plenty of people said, like, you know, Devin just moved away where he's doing everything right. He's trying to make the big fights. He's sacrificing purses and giving rematch clauses and shit like that. And for this to happen is definitely unfortunate. Now, I believe my take on how this fight came to have a result that it did may be different from others. It is what it is. Well, the first thing I do want to take my head off and say, Devin, you know, he showed the heart of a champion. A lot of people would have quit in that situation. But then also I want to give Ryan his credit, because Ryan, you know, even though he did miss weight, and even though I'm pretty sure that give him an advantage, at the end of the day, they sat down with Team Haney. They had the discussion. They said Ryan honored his portion of it, and Ryan paid the $1.5 million. So at that point in time, you know, Team Haney had an opportunity to fight, I think it was Barbosa's, or whatever the guy name is, the other Golden Boy fighter. But they decided to face Ryan because that's who Devin wanted to fight. Cool. So even though the fact of the weight, I mean, is a fact in itself, it's also a fact that Team Haney decided to agree and move forward with the fight, understanding the ramifications of Ryan missing weight and how that can be an advantage for Ryan Garcia. Now, if I was to sum up the outcome of this fight, I watched the fight over and I noticed the difference to me. The thing that outside of the weight, the thing that made the difference in this fight was Derrick James. I watched in the corner, I watched it over and over again. And even though Ryan was, you know, he was clowning around in the ring a lot, Derrick James gave Ryan excellent instruction. Excellent instruction. And I even watched Ryan display that he didn't do everything Derrick James told him to do. I truly believe if Ryan would have listened to Derrick James and did exactly what his trainer told him to do, I think he would have got the stoppage. But, you know, Ryan didn't, so it is what it is when it comes to that. And honestly, man, I ultimately think this came down to the trainers. I've seen, you know, we've seen Derrick James on the other side of this, where when it was Derrick James versus Bomac and Crawford versus Spence, and Bomac, you know, to me, Bomac out coached him, and obviously with Terrence Crawford abilities, and that gave them the result. And I think in this fight, Derrick James was the key factor. I think he had a better game plan. I think Derrick James outcoached Bill and led his fighter to victory. I mean, I watched him in that corner, and the strategic advice and he was telling Ryan that he needed to implement was light years above the instruction I saw in Haney's corner. I heard a lot of motivation and a lot of rah-rah and things like that. But when it came to the specifics of what he needed to do, I didn't see it. I didn't see it, and it may not have made a difference. It may have made all the difference, but at the end of the day, you know, the result was a result. The biggest thing I noticed, I watched, I think it was the first knockdown, Ryan threw the same punch 3 times in a row. And the thing that reminded me of is when Leo Santa Cruz was fighting against Tank, and Leo threw the same punch at Tank. 1, he caught him. 2, Tank parried it. And 3, Tank, he countered Leo and knocked him out. But Devin on that 3rd left hook from Ryan, he got caught. And I don't remember if that's the one where he stumbled back or if that's one was an actual knockdown. But I think it was a knockdown, because I thought to myself, like, how the fuck did he get caught with the same exact punch? Ryan throwing it, you know, 3 consecutive times. But Hey, man, so it was a combination of that. That was a thing that stuck out to me. The defense was not there. Like I said, Ryan, he definitely got into Devin's head. He got Devin to fight. Ryan got Devin to fight Ryan's fight. I believe that Devin definitely would have got the victory if he would have stuck to boxing, if he would have, continue to get his jabs off, get his 1-2 off, hit a move, and the same style that a few years ago people were saying, oh, Devin Haney's boring, this, and that. That style would have led Devin to victory. I watched Ryan get tired, even though Ryan was getting the knockdowns and then Devin was getting back up. Devin had wobbly legs, and Ryan was still getting gassed. Like he was doing a lot of. People were saying Devin was holding. Devin was holding because he was hurt. Ryan was holding because he wasn't conditioned, and that's why he couldn't get Devin out of there. But whatever the case may be, Ryan still got the job done. Now, if anybody was to ask, well, what's next for Ryan, what's next for Devin? Personally, I think Devin should push for the rematch. But if Ryan is serious about really going up to welterweight, then it is what it is. Only thing you can do is move on. Due to Ryan missing weight, Devin is still the WBC champion. So the only thing Devin can really do right now is get a tune-up fight, and maybe even a couple of tune-up fights, a couple fights just to stay active. I would say, fight your mandatories and fight the number 2 ranked guy. Devin had went through like a tough road. He fought Kambosos twice, then he fought Lomachenko, and then he moved up and he fought Regis, and he went immediately from fighting Regis to fighting Ryan, a guy that missed weight. So I think Devin just needs to just get back to just blowing guys out of the water. If his confidence has been rattled any amount, this is the time to where he can just get back to what he does best. This was just one of those fights where Ryan definitely got in his head and he got Devin to do what Devin shouldn't have been doing. To me, this would be the equivalent if somebody got into Shakur Stevenson's head and he didn't fight the fight. At the end of the day, fans always say, we want you to step to the guy, we want an exciting fight. But unfortunately, this is the risk that fighters take when they either are emotionally drawn into fighting the fight that their opponent want them to fight, or they're drawn into fighting the fight that the fans want them to fight because they don't want to be seen as boring. At the end of the day, they're going to talk shit regardless. So if it was me, and if I was a fighter and that's my team, I'm going to tell my fighter, always fight your fight, fight to your advantage. Now, I see a lot of casual fans, they're not really understanding the how much of a factor the 3 pounds were. Some people are saying it's just 3 pounds. The one thing I'm not going to do, I'm not going to tell Ryan Garcia how impactful 3 pounds is on his body. People keep saying just 3 pounds. It's not like Ryan Garcia walks around at 143 pounds. No, the man probably walk around like at 160 when he's not in camp. So, he still would have had to cut 20 pounds. And I think that 160 is generous. He still would have had to cut a significant amount of weight before he even got to the 143. So Ryan said it himself that the 3 pounds made a difference. The 3 pounds made him feel strong, and he was doing what he needed to do. Now, on the flip side, when it came to him fighting Tank, he had to cut down to 135, and Tank threw a rehydration clause on top of that. So I saw the comparison photos of Tank fighting Ryan versus Devin fighting Ryan. It's definitely night and day. It's definitely a distinct difference between the physique and even just the energy in the face. But it is what it is, man. The fight played out how it played out. Like I said, congrats to Ryan on the victory. Yeah, it was definitely impressive. I guess the truth is, what is Ryan gonna do next? I know Oscar was saying that Ryan is gonna want to fight Tank again, but at a catch weight of 145. I really don't see Tank accepting that fight. The thing about Tank is, he don't really fight anybody at a disadvantage. He's at a position where he has that type of leverage. But then, you see a situation play out like this, like Haney. He accepted the fight where he was at the disadvantage after Ryan missed weight, and we see how things played out. So we'll see what happens when it comes to this. A lot of people are saying that Devin needs to get another trainer. My original take and my main reason for Ryan winning this fight is Bill definitely got outcoached by Derrick James. The question is, was this just a one-night thing, or just one of those things to where that it can continue to happen and adjustments got to be made? We'll see how time go, but this Nino Brown Boxing, and I'm out.